Hi, personal developers, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, welcome! Hello! If it's not your first time here, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so glad I got you here today. I am Erica, aka the personal developer, and we are here together to develop our minds. Today, I am going to share with you the second part of a conversation that I had with my beautiful soul sister, Bird Mejia. I told you you were going to love her. If you are watching part 2, that just proves my point. If you didn't watch part 1, please run and go watch part 1 because part 2 is basically a continuation of our previous conversation, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking and let you watch part 2 on this conversation on womanhood, racism. There we have so many, we cover so many things. I really hope you like it, and don't forget to comment, okay? Leave me a comment if you like it.
White, you have this whole indoctrination of like, white, we're superheroes, and when you are brown, there's nothing. Like, and like, and then like I'll even say for like Mexican man, you see a Mexican man, he is cleaning the landscape, he's like, he's nothing, and that's what, like, my grandfather, he was the waiter, and I think inside, he felt like, he was a man, he was a machista man, he felt like nothing because that's how he was treated. So he went into the family, and all that anger came out into his family because I'm the jefe and I'm going to be something, and the anger came and hurt the family. And that's what people don't understand, is that there is still today alive. I talk to young people that I just talked to somebody like in his 20s, and he talked about how he was bullied every day in school about being black. Like, it's just like people just think it's gone, but it's not. And I think it's important that we are in this period right now where we're coming together, where we're changing. But this dismissing, like, that stuff is in the past. Like, you guys have issues, and the stuff that still goes on right now, it needs to change. And also an understanding for us people of color that we're carrying the pain from the past generations. And if you are of European descent, but we have coined white in this world, to understand that people of color, we carry like pain from atrocities. Yes, your families went through hard things too, but like, there were things because of racism that we carry in our DNA. And to be brothers and sisters, and like, not to be like, hey, I feel sorry for you, but like, yes, you're my brother and sister. I'm going, because the greatest thing you can do to somebody, honestly, is to hold space for them.
Yes.
Not to tell them, this is something I had to learn, as a life coach and as a healer, is that, a lot of times I have lots of knowledge and I want to tell them. I'm like, no, one of the greatest honors is silence, is just to allow another person to tell their story and to hold space for their story and to honor the story. And I think that's what's not happening, is that our stories, we're not holding people, a lot of people of European descent are not, a lot of white people are not allowing us just to hold space for us. You're not holding space for us. You're not allowing us to, and honoring us to have the sacred space, and to listen to our stories and to honor our stories, and to say, yes, like, I don't know what that feels like, Erica, to have gone through that. Like, I have never experienced that, and my ancestors, we have not experienced that, but you know what? Like, I honor you as another human being, and I have empathy, and I'm going to hold space and send love to you as another human being. And I think that's what we need to do. Instead of, we don't need, like, poor you, or like, we don't need, the guilt has never done anything, but it's about honoring us and honoring each other as human beings.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I couldn't agree more with you. It's about understanding. It's not like we talk, we just want to speak and talk and let you know and scream and shout. That's not about it. We just want you to recognize that this still happens, and this is the world we live in. But if you think that this is not happening, then you live in a different world. As Bert said, like, look around you, go to the cinema, who's there? I grew up and watching movies and telenovelas, like you said, the black woman was always the woman working in the house.
Mhm.
You know, that's what she did. She was there, she was working, she was cleaning. Nothing wrong with that. That's a profession. But as a black woman, like, is that the only thing I can do? Just try to imagine what does that do to your self-worth. You're going to think that you cannot. We're talking about TV. Yeah, now we're grown-ups, we can see the difference. Maybe we can spot the difference. Some of us are more um, how do you say, some of us are more affected than we think with TV and the media. But imagine you are a little girl and you are watching TV, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours a day, and you only see people that don't represent you. And the people who represent you are doing, they're not doing, they are invisible. They are the person who brings your coffee, you don't even look at her face. What does this do for your self-worth? And
Yes.
imagine when you live and in your house, you hear this, you have to be twice as good than them. Okay, so you are nothing, and on top of that, on top of being nothing, you have to be twice as good. And you know that's true because when you go out and you start studying and you try doing stuff, you know that people want you to be twice as good because otherwise they won't look at you. I've been to job interviews where I don't have like an accent from Angola. I have an accent from Portugal. So I used to doing like small, when you're looking for jobs and people call you and then they set an interview. And you know what it is to arrive to an interview and see the disappointment of the person in their faces, figuring out that you are black? I mean, I'm not paranoid. This is
I know.
it is real and it happens. And maybe you're not going to be hired because you are black. When my mom was looking for an apartment, we were very little. One person didn't want to rent the apartment because we were black and we make a lot of noise. And I've heard a lot of you black people in this life for you to tell me that this doesn't exist. This still exists to this day. And being black and a woman, oh my God. I don't know where to start, Bert. I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Erica. And like, I honor that, I hold space with you right now, just talking about how, you went to the interview and you could feel that he was disappointed, like that he was expecting a white woman to come in with the accent, and he like you and and then you have to question yourself, like, am I really feeling that? But like you were right, like this, and like I just honor that you like, but that is something that you have to carry and you have to know, and it is something that a lot of people don't understand, and you're carrying that all the time and you're feeling those things.
Yeah.
Yes. I had some of those experiences growing up. I had two different college boyfriends, and both of them, I was falling in love with. And you're at that age where people are starting to think about getting married, and blah blah blah. But each of them had a parent that like hated me, and like hated me, like I could feel it. And I remember as a young woman, like I knew it was because of who I was. They didn't want their daughter, their son, to be married to like an ethnic girl, right? But I couldn't deal with it. Like it was too painful. And I remember one time my mother met one of the boys' mothers, and she started yelling at me. She's like, that woman hates you, don't you? She hates you. And she just was like yelling at me. And I remember just started bawling. I'm like, Mom. And it was because my mother tried to raise me white and tried to protect me. And here I was right in her face, and she could feel the racism. And she was so angry that her daughter was doing the same racism because she thought that she had, sacrificed her whole being to protect us. And here it was in her face. That, a lot of times, for me, it's that subtle things. Like, people saying, oh, I'm not racist, but like, it's the subtle things, Erica. Like, people don't get, like, we feel, like, it's just, a lot of times the racism is subtle. And we just know it. And, you might not even know that you're coming from this stuff because you don't realize how you've been indoctrinated. Just like we've been indoctrinated. I was the same way. Like, I was ashamed to say that I was Mexican. Like I was like, because the only Mexicans I saw, like I didn't see hardly anyone, but they did. They were always the servants, right? You know, and I was like, I didn't even know. I remember growing up, you know, maybe being like 19 and 20, like seeing these affluent communities of Latinas and of Mexicans and, you know, of Latin American people. And I was like, I didn't know that we live like that. I thought we were all servants, like just because that was the indoctrination and that was the different stuff. And that's what, you know, I knew that's what how my grandfather had survived in this country, you know, but if it's affecting us, how is it affecting everybody else? Like if you're getting indoctrinated, and for example, like you could be a teacher and these are the things you've had, and all of a sudden now you have a black child in front of your face, and you might have a good heart and mean well, but all those subconscious patterns that were in your head those first 8 years of your life, now you have the child and you're like, oh, this child's not as smart because this is what the thing, or you know, you have a Mexican child thinking, oh, this child's, you know, not going to amount to much because, you know, you have all these stereotypes that have been indoctrinated. Like, so we have to be aware of how it's affected us, but how everyone has affected so many people and how we're treated because of this indoctrination, right?
Yeah, it's true. And I think that you just spot on. I think we need to realize and just check in with ourselves because we're not immune to that. I know that as a Black person, I have to check myself sometimes, you know, I have to check myself because this is one thing that we are learning how to deal with, right? Because the generation before me dealt it in a way of, okay, let's change ourselves so we can fit in. And now my generation is like, let me get in your face so we can, you know, have a word to say. And yeah, so we are all adapting. I think it's we need to be more aware and check in with ourselves. And first of all, more important, assume that this is happening and this is real, as you said so correctly. And also, you know, just be more conscious and check what you say and how you act, and look around you and see if you can do something. You know, saying things like, oh, I'm not racist because I have one Black friend. Like, this is not cool. This is not, no, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. You have one Black friend. This kind of stuff that we say and that we always say, and sometimes we think that it's funny, but it's actually like despective. Like, just check yourself. I think we should all check ourselves and see what we're doing and how we're doing, and yeah, just walk around as we are and check ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's important. That's really important, Erica. We were also going to talk, I know we've been talking for a while, but just our experiences as, you know, kind of as women of color, like, you know, how, you know, I grew up like being ashamed of how I looked, and being ashamed was my biggest feeling. How about you?
Yeah, I was ashamed. Yes, I was ashamed. I thought that everyone was more beautiful than I was, you know, because I saw all these men attracted to this light skin, long hair, you know. My hair didn't move, so I was ashamed. You know, I had comments from my Black friends that I was cute even though I was Black. You know, that things that they don't do you any favor, they just put you down even more. So yeah, I was feeling ashamed for a long time, and I really tried to blend in as well for a long period of my life. I was trying to be less Black, or whatever that means. That never worked. Like, it was not me. So yeah, a lot of shame, a lot of weird comments, feeling less than, and that came from home, and also from the outside, and from society in general, from the examples that I saw growing up. You know, I was really feeling less than, and that had a lot to do with being Black. Because I was treated different, even from my peers, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even from, I know we had discussed even like how men, a lot of times, men are perceived, especially like, we talked about like, well, being labeled like ethnic. We got this old
Oh,
ethnic.
yes. Yes. So you're so exotic. You are so exotic. I love Black women. Okay. Just to say that this is, I mean, if you are walking around with me like you have some sort of trophy,
Mm-hmm.
that's not okay, because you are not with me. You are just treating me like an exotic species, and you don't even have feelings for me. You have feelings for the idea that you have of me, that it's
Mm-hmm.
not even real. I've dated white men who thought that it's just, I'm African, so I'm a certain way. I have to be a dancer. I have to be like a crazy in bed because I'm African. I mean, just so many things and weird expectations that men had on me. Sometimes I really felt very like, what am I? I felt very objectified.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of attention that I was getting was from when I was younger. Now it's different, but it was that kind of attention, like more objectified. I felt objectified. Like, okay, this guy liked me because I'm black, and then black guys didn't like me that much, or they wanted me to be like their, I don't know, their mom. This African thing of like, you should cook, you should do. And so I was in this situation, like, why are these light skinned women have this relationship with black men and they can do whatever I can? And if I have relationship with black men, I have to act like I'm their mother. What's happening here? And if I were with light skinned men, then I was the masterpiece, just do nothing, just be there. It was crazy and confusing. I have to pave the way to really get to know myself, so I'm more secure of myself, and then just run away from all this nonsense, because this still exists to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. I still get those vibes from time to time, um, but yeah, that was it was very uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes, it's a lot. You get a lot of kind of craziness in all different realms, right? Within the
Yeah,
community and without like all those kind of stereotypes like constantly all the time.
exactly. And no one was telling me, you are so beautiful as you are.
As you
Why
are.
are you straightening your hair if your hair is perfect? You are so intelligent. I don't know. I wasn't receiving so many positive comments. The comments
Yeah.
were always like that.
Yes. Yes. And I know for me as a Latina woman, it's my like we're just like the sex symbols, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I must have been 21 years old and I was dating, and I grew up in an all white community. So,
Yeah.
back then like that was all like that was available, right? So I was dating this I guess he was a boy then, he was 21, right? He's still a boy, but young man.
Yeah.
And he took me to dinner with his boss, with his, he had this really lucrative job. And it was this blonde man with this white woman. And she wasn't real pretty. And she was just kind of a plain average woman. We're sitting there talking, and his boss looks at him like I am not there. And he looks at him and he says, "What do you see in her?" Like I wasn't even there. He looks at him and he goes, "What do you see in her?" And the guy I was dating,
I feel uncomfortable just listening to this.
yes, and he said, "Well, look at her. She's gorgeous." And then I don't remember where it went. I just remember because then I was like, I wasn't dealing with my ethnicity, and I just remember just kind of like it felt like it was like, but it was like I was invisible, like I'm having this plain white woman here, and you have this beautiful Latina woman, but what do you see in her? Like she is not proper, and he was so, and that's the kind of stuff like it was like you could I think for Latino women, we're like, we're the sex objects, and sometimes we'll get men that are just, especially white men that just like, I'm into Latino women, and like they just think that I'm like, what do you mean you're into like I just date Latino women, like really, like what do you, like, what, and
And please stop making those type of comments. They're just horrible.
I know, don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not sexy.
No.
It's not cool. It's not a conversation starter. It's just horrible.
No.
Oh, dude. So it's hard. Our life can be hard sometimes. But what are the positives of being a Latino woman?
Well, I think there's so many positives. Like, I come from this beautiful, rich culture. I have this beautiful skin that tans in the sun, Yeah. My face is not aging because of the sun. We got some protection, got this dark, beautiful hair. There's a lot to, just even like aesthetically, but, beyond that, like, I come from this culture, and, I even appreciate, the things that have been hidden. My mother used to always say, we have no Indian. We're not Indian. Like, there's no Indian blood. You just come from pure Spanish blood. And when she died, we did her DNA, and there was a lot of Indian. Like, and like, I love that. Like, I love the culture. I love the my ancestors. We're from this beautiful, rich culture. Like, I love that, and those things that are alive and that we can explore. And some of those things have been hidden, but it's like, for me, it's just like, I feel like our ancestors went through so many things so that we can be free and be proud of who they were not able to be free and proud of because of all of the oppression, all the horrific things they went through. So it's like, for us, we can just hold them up and we can say, this is who we come from. These are the cultures. These are the people we come from. Even like the spirituality, I am really into all the spirituality, and I watch all these spiritual summits, and all regards to all of the spiritual masters, but most of them are white, and most of them are white men. But you know what? And some of them are coming and they're going into communities of color and they're studying this stuff, and then they're bringing it to the people. Well, you know what? A lot of our ancestors, like, we didn't have to have all this, like, they were living that. Like, they knew those things. Like, they were indigenous. The indigenous cultures that we come from, they were living the spirituality. They were living it. They were doing it every day. They were being in the present moment every day. Like, they were doing these things. And like, so I feel like, even connecting to our spirituality, to the truths that our ancestors knew, and stepping into that, and then joining with our quote unquote white brothers and sisters with all of it, but also coming out as being the teachers. Like, it's not always like we know things. Like, our ancestors knew things. Like, I'm going to teach it. Like, I'm going to come and I'm going to be the one that teaches it.
Yeah.
And I think, so those are some of the things. How about you?
I love it. I love it so much. I love being a woman, and I love being a Black woman. I just absolutely love my skin. I'm obsessed with my skin. I think it's a beautiful tone. Hair, love the hair. It's crazy. It does whatever it wants to do. I love the fact that since we have been through so much, we are very empathic. We understand. It doesn't matter who comes to me, and I will understand you because I have been through some things, and that happens in general with a lot of people from different ethnicities. We have been through so much. We traveled. We have so many different cultures and so many things that affect us as a people, that we are beautiful empaths people. We understand and we can have empathy for other people, and we are resilient, because even though this is crazy, we are still here, we're still fighting, and we're still being ourselves, and we are still out there, and we are doing this with no violence. We are just trying to speak up. We are spreading the word, and we are still here. And we can still understand the other side. I mean, I just love being a black woman. I think it's great, and it should be great to be a black or a Latino or whatever. But I really embrace it, and I love my culture. And I come from a place where I am a black woman raised in Europe, and I have a lot of all these mixtures, and I embrace everything. Yeah.
That's powerful. I love that. You also come from the original people.
Yes, I'm an African. Oh.
I'm from the sisterland. It's yes.
Yeah. Oh, but I think that's it.
Yes. So lovely to talk. I mean, we can continue talking on this subject, but I
Yeah.
just think it's so, and then I gotta say, so my sisters of color, I have to tell you, like, just love yourself.
Yes.
Love your hair, and if it is your thing to dye your hair blonde or pink, or because it's coming from creativity, then do what you want. And I'm not saying not to straighten your hair sometimes, if that you want to do that. Sometimes it makes you feel beautiful, but just like love yourself, like embrace yourself, know who you come from. Your people come from rich cultures, rich people, and the atrocities that happened to the ancestors have just made us so strong. And sometimes the dysfunctions in our families are a lot because of the trauma. It's the traumas that keep getting passed on. And so, like, if you're watching this, like, it's probably part of your duty to, like, step forth and heal yourself and heal those traumas. And your ancestors are supporting you and guiding you, but as you heal yourself, you're healing the generations before and after you. So, like, we have this, and it's like we need more of us. You beautiful, my sisters of color and my brothers of color, like, we need to rise up right now too, and to speak our truths, and to lead, and to come and to love ourselves. And part of that is loving, like, this shell, like, this is part of our being. So, like, just I love you. You're just so powerful and amazing, and all of our different tones, and, like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, like, just
Yes. Yes. Think about how you carry yourself, why you do the things you do, why you straighten your hair. Just think twice. If it is something that you are doing for somebody else, or because you heard it, or because you think it's right, and that's not what you want to do, then don't do it. Then don't do it. After that 5 minutes where you will feel weird, I know how that feels. After that 5 minutes, you will feel weird. You will feel free and happy and liberated, because you are being you, and we need more of you, and just show up, and you will see. I'm so happy. Sometimes I'm walking down the street and I see a black girl, and she's smiling at me, and I know why she's smiling, because she sees me, and she's like, okay, I can be that. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm the best example ever, but I'm happy that I am carrying my hair, that I am expressive, and and a little black girl, she's gonna see it, and she's gonna say, I can be myself as well. So you can do that for people as well. It's so beautiful for people and for yourself.
And I love that. I think that's so important. And, like, I also want to, like, also say to my a lot of us people of color, like Latino women, throughout the world, like, we also embrace, like, all of us, I said, all of us originally come from Africa, but a lot of us also have African blood. My mother was, I think, when they did the DNA, 8% African. She had some Mali, some Senegal, some, just a little bit of that, like, we all. And then even from Spain, like, the dark, this stuff comes from the Moor, who was from North Africa, that lived there for thousands of years, and even the Italian, the dark from Italy, that's because the Moor lived there. Like, like, embrace the African you have in you, and the Native that you have in you, and everything that you have of your color. Like, it is so important, so powerful. And, again, like, to end it, like, we are all luminous beings chosen in this body. That's who the essence of us. But we have to love our temple, and part of our loving our temple is loving ourselves as women of color and men of color.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I have nothing to add. What a beautiful conversation.
It was so lovely, Erica. I love you.
I
You're
love
so
you.
luminous, like so lovely to connect and reach out. Like, you know, Erica and I met on IG, right? You know,
Yes.
like we're coming from different parts of the world. Like, you know, I know we're going through this difficult time right now, but it's also this time of transformation. Like the things that are rising up within us are the things that want to be transformed. And so reach out to your brothers and sisters around the world and let's rise up within ourselves, but let's help each other rise. And Erica, like I'm so excited like to continue our beautiful spiritual partnership, our beautiful friendship over the years, and like watch you just keep rising and like support you in any way I can. Like you're just such a luminous being. So such a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you. Oh, that was so lovely.
Hi personal developer, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe to my channel and share it with someone you love. And also don't forget to activate the notifications so you don't miss a thing. There's a new video coming every Wednesday and Friday. There's another thing I don't want you to forget. You can be the boss of your brain. Yes, you can. See you next time.